likely to be
a lot of people.
quote-unquote mess.
A lot of people. A new record. We set a record every time. A new record. We set a record. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank
the Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justice Thomas, Alito. Thank you very much for being here, for their strength and wisdom. Supreme Court's ruling on love of our country is to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it, but we still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud. And I think certain justices are afraid of that. So important. They don't want to do the right thing. We're doing so well as a country. They're afraid of it. Done so well. This was an important case to me, more as a symbol of economic statutes and authorities, as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States and President of the United States. In actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved, because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy. I have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year. They said, you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board He said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have. And together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%. When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. I guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those three people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives, great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little two-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license. It's a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs.
Timer.
In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license.
That stuff tastes nasty.
Just like the people that were opposing me told them to do. But not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that.
Where'd it go?
Whoever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court.
Poor Trump.
But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries. But a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction, probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%, but now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so up, you have to see, I'm so proud of him, wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't, he's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301, and the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear. But it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability. Very proud of that appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way, they'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court, pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is. Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years, to the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs. And essentially, it's to use to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, you know, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301
this ought to be good. This ought to be good.
They're there. Remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged.
Oh, smack!
And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and I say quite simply, which I've said for
don't be done yet, President Trump. Tell us
make
more.
America great again. And interestingly, we've already made
Tell
it
us
great,
more.
so I don't have to use that. But I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to
That's
be
right.
with us. If you have a few questions, you
Oh,
can
good. Questions
let
are
us
good.
know. But just to end, so we're going forward. We will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be
Oh,
doubt.
this is
There was
fun.
always doubt.
Ow.
I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and they're sleazebags, major sleazebags.
Amen to
I know
that.
them, and they're
Welcome in,
foreign
everybody, by the
country
way.
centric. They were sending things
I
into
don't
our
think we need
country,
that up because we're
and
watching
the
it
people
here.
representing them knew full well, but they were sending
but-
things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have we have a totally firm decision now, and I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but
Yeah. Amy
there are
Coney
usual
Barrett is an
ways
absolute
around it.
disappointment.
This is something we could have done. As
She votes
Justice
with the
Kavanaugh
rest
said
of the
we could have done
Democrats
this
on the
originally, but
squad.
we're doing it now, and the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you,
Red.
Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious. You've
Why didn't
spoken
call
about
you in the red?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas
didn't
and
call
Alito,
you.
as you know, are the most conservative
love
constitutional
Trump.
justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar
Yes, Ted
ideology?
Cruz.
And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold
I don't know, but
the
they're great
Constitution?
justices. That's all I can say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too. To add
I
to
know,
the
it don't
group,
make any
he's a
sense.
great-
How
he's
does
a
that
great
even
man.
work?
Great.
With
Who's this?
a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Congress to take additional action on tariffs now? Have you
I don't
spoken
need to.
your
It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers, and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and I went to.
Yeah, exactly, Jeff. It's all a bunch of
place,
communists.
great place, great,
Absolutely
wonderful people.
communists.
And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We're in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very
isn't that
powerful man.
special?
I don't want to be kissed by that man. But a very
Who wants to be
powerful,
kissed by a
strong man.
man?
He's been in the steel
Puke.
business for many years. His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week. And then you came in and imposed tariffs. And all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped.
Amen.
And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He
Good.
said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you. But you know what? He just to finalize it, he said, oh, this is a great place in Georgia. He said, all up and down the highway, same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to
Hello,
go bankrupt.
Orderly
We're all
88.
going
How
out
you
of
doing
business.
today?
And now every
Yeah, wouldn't that
one
be
of us is
wonderful?
thriving, and we're hiring people like we
What in the
haven't.
world?
He said, like I've never, and he's been in business for I think 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs, and we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start that are under construction right now. You see all the construction numbers are so good. Those construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years, they've taken our market. They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our
What's going on with
They
the sound?
manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our cars.
What
They
in the world?
manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and
What in the world? Anybody else hear that, or is it just me? Am I the only one hearing that? What? On God's green earth? We get hit or something, or what in the world?
They put our companies. Intel would be now the largest company. I saved Intel. I literally saved it at the
Oh, that's
beginning of
crazy. What was that all
this
about?
administration. And
Okay,
now
well,
all
let's
those
do
companies.
this. Let's just go ahead and now the sound's still having problems. That's not me. Not on my end.
Who are the descendants of Sir Duncan the Tall in the time of A Song
What?
of Ice and Fire? George R. R. Martin has given us a few hints, so let's take a look.
All right,
Hi
let's
everyone, this
go
is
ahead.
Robert. Welcome to In Deep Geek. If you like theories, background, history, and lore about A Song of Ice and Fire, The Lord of the Rings, and The Witcher.
Well, that was just weird because it totally knocked out. That's odd. All right, let's just do this. We'll just bring it right back up. I don't care. Let's see if that helps. Man, I thought for a minute there, like we were going to hear news instructions that we're being bombed or something. That was different. Wait a minute. Okay, well, he must have been finished because this is what was up before I went live or when it started.
And his great ability.
Well, we'll
Very
just start it
proud of.
over.
And 5 of the taken are numbers are so good.
So much, Mr. President. Just
There were a lot of questions about tariffs because placed the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities as recognized by the entire court in this terrible
Yeah,
decision.
no kidding. I have terrible
and
times
also
with
is
Spectrum.
recognized by
I
Congress.
mean,
which
it's
they
hit and
refer
miss with
to,
Spectrum sometimes.
that are
I can
even
go 3-4
stronger than
weeks
the
without problems,
IEPA
and then all of a
tariffs
sudden there's
available
the
to me
problems
as
again.
President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries
Jeff,
and
yeah,
businesses
you're not probably
because I
not wrong,
wanted
man. You're
to
probably
do,
not wrong.
and it's very important.
Well, let me
I want
just
to be
say
very
this. Let me say this about the aliens. I know that, and I don't disagree. I do agree that there are things said and done for distractions. But if you're part of the internet generation, I'm not just talking to young people. Those of us that have had an internet now since, for me, 1997, there's not really anything they can do to distract us from any topic. It doesn't matter what the topic is. They can try to distract us. It won't work. We got Windows now. We can multitask. And unless you're not able to multitask, like if something's wrong, there's really no such thing as distractions. Only what we decide we want to listen to. Like if we don't want to hear anything more about aliens, then we just don't listen to stuff about aliens. If we don't want to hear no more about the Epstein files, which quite honestly is getting dull and boring, they've released what 6 million pages, which is fantastic. People are getting busted. Um, yeah, it is. It's. I've been having problems with the sound for the last 5 minutes. Let me see if I can do something about it. Hello, kitty cat. Here's my baby. Are you feeling better? Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get the input better on the sound. All right. Will you stop that water, please, honey? Thank you. Right now, I'm frustrated with the internet. Okay. That should come in better now if there what maybe it was on your guys' end, but it could have been on my end. It's possible. I wasn't expecting to go live yet, but um, there's nothing to bust him for. Esteban, what is your name? Esteban. Esteban. Can I help you? Yeah, will you give that to me, please? Um, yeah, they keep trying to bust him, but there's nothing there. And the problem with the Democrats is they always want to go ahead and try to bust Trump for everything, including his mother. And it just doesn't work because there's nothing there. If they would have had solid proof on President Trump in those files, then they would have already have nailed him. And now it's just the liberals are angry because their woman is not in office. The word salad decided that, she decided to be stupid, and I'll just kick you right out of here. Get out of here. Go. I am not in the mood to mess with people today. Not at all. Not online people, anyway. Oh, what a day. It's a good day. Very good day. My daughter turns 18 today. And it's also a sad day because that means she's going to be a full fledged adult. And in 3 years, when she's done with college, she'll probably move out of here, which means my purpose on earth is pretty much over with. So it's kind of disappointing for me because I love her so much, and I don't want them to grow up. What parent that loves their kids wants them to, completely grow up? Yeah, probably. I am all for Trump. I don't see why anybody wouldn't be for Trump. Even God wanted Trump in office. Daniel chapter 2, verse 21. God sets up kings and he takes kings down. He gives knowledge to those that seek it, and he helps people be wise right here. Today's Mike Shriver Ministries is brought to you in part by Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump. He's a great, great president. Very special, very handsome. Other presidents, losers, total failures, low IQ, low morale. But President Trump wants to make America great again. And the left, all they want to do is support the fivefold ministry of the Democrats. The LGBTQ, A through Z alphabet community, that's number one. They want to support diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, number two. They're for wokeism, number three. Pro-abortion on all levels. And also, they're pro-illegal immigration. That is the fivefold ministry of the left. They could care less about the Word of God. They don't even try. They could care less about the Constitution of the United States and everything else. They just don't care. Yeah, it works too. That was my foot. You know how my foot gets that way? Yeah, went took it all right off. I had a pile of skin dust 10 miles high. That too. And so they hate America. Now, here's the thing. They're not stupid, Jeff. They're not as dumb as they act. Or why would you go against the very nation that you grew up in? The very nation that you wanted to go into office to support, to back, and to love? The very nation that even regular citizens like me and Brother Jeff and his beard, that we are just regular American guys, Joes. I was going to say G.I. Joes, but I'm not a general infantry soldier. I'm just a preacher from the backside of Michigan that happens to have a very much a political point of view on everything, and above all, the Word of God, and secondly, the Constitution of the United States. But see, there's nothing we can do to stop liberalism, or AKA communism, from destroying this country except pray. All nations rise, all nations fall, according to the will of God. I understand that. I wasn't born tomorrow. I'm pretty smart today, right here and right now. Let's get back to the video.
well behaved because I wanted to do anything. I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed.
Yeah.
I want to be a good boy.
Oh, what a good
I
Trump.
have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again.
If I ever grow up, I want to be just like President Donald J. Trump.
Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000
Beautiful.
on the Dow,
I don't have any
and
stocks.
simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year.
Amen.
They said you'll never be able. You'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements. All of the Nobel Prize winners in economics, they said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear.
Could have been.
Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the
Don Trump,
great
welcome
meeting that we
in.
had, he
Stephen.
scored.
Stephen, welcome in. Great to see you. And Don, good to see you. We got Brother Jeff here. I don't know how many of you realized it, but our great president, Donald J. Trump, he went live. He could even still be live right now, but I had all kinds of internet connection problems. And so I had to start all over again. But in case you're just figuring it out, the Supreme Court knocked down the tariffs, but President Trump said, you know what? I don't care. I got a plan. And now, what did he say, Brother Jeff? Didn't he say something like he added 10% to what he was already charging everybody? Because I don't think they can stop him from doing tariffs 100%. And why would they? How much was Amy Coney Barrett paid to vote against him this time? But you know what? It doesn't matter because Trump, at the end of the day, is 10 moves, if not more, against those hacks in Washington. Well, if he's saved by God or not, Mimi, I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if he hasn't been born again, then obviously he's not saved. Jesus told Jesus told Nicodemus in John chapter 3, and then Peter preached it on the day of Pentecost, Acts 2:38. Except you're born again, you ain't even going to see heaven. But with elections, we got to vote for the lesser of the two evils. You might not like Trump as a man, but by God, is he a good president. He is the best thing that's ever happened to this country since God knows when. Anyway, here we go.
He said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have.
Yes,
and
they
together
have.
with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by
Amen to
30%.
that.
When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. I guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those 3 people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives, great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money.
That's right. We don't make
Can't
pennies
charge
anymore.
$1 to any country under
No
IEPA.
more. I don't blame
Not
them.
$1. I
This is
assume to
interesting.
protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries. Certainly not.
For those of you in the chat and those of you listening, did you know that it costs the United States 3 pennies to make 1 penny? No wonder we got rid of them. Now, yeah, of course, obviously they're still in circulation, but we don't make brand new ones anymore. The mint has completely stopped. So the ones in circulation, I'd probably take decades for them jokers to kind of disappear. Let's skip this next ad coming up. We don't need a stupid ad right now. Okay, so I just want to let you guys know what
The
happened with
United
the
States
pennies.
of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what
Yes,
they're
they
supposed to
should
be
be.
protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade, I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says.
The way he says it, it just
And
makes you
that's not
laugh
the way
because
it
it's
even
humorous.
reads.
Just the way he
I
says
can
it's
do
great.
anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2 cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries, but a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago
That's right,
under
it
an
was.
incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction, probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%. But now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so up.
Welcome
you'd have
in,
to
Richard.
see. I'm so proud of him. Wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't. He's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion
I know.
Act of
Isn't he great?
1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301. And the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear. But it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability. Very proud of that appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way, they'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court.
You're welcome, Nexus.
Pack the
God bless
Supreme
you.
Court. Maybe they should.
Glad you're here.
Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is.
Yeah,
Based on long-standing law
let me put it
and
in the
hundreds
chat.
of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years. To the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs. And essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, you know, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades.
I gotta throw this out there to everybody. You know, it's kind of crazy how Obama accidentally what did Rush call him? Oh, that's what it was. It was Barack Hussein Obama, aka the Messiah. Yesterday or the day before yesterday, the Messiah, no, not Jesus, but the presidential Messiah for the left. I remember when Rush started calling him that. That's so funny. Anyway, he revealed that there are aliens, so it is official, and he's not talking illegal aliens, that there is alien life. Which means he's in some serious trouble if they decide to push it, because I guess that's breaking some kind of national intelligence. Although when it comes to the ones in political office, there's not much intelligence on the left.
But now we know
I'll
because
be right
this
back.
decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so we're going forward. We will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're foreign country centric. They were sending things into our country, and the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have a totally firm decision now.
Oh, thank you, Jeff, for the
I don't think the
$2.
court meant it, because the court doesn't show great
Yes, please share
spirit
the
toward our
channel
country, in
with
my
as many
opinion.
people as
A lot
possible.
of bad decisions. But,
I'm very proud of this channel. Not because of me, because of what the Lord has brought me for great people. I couldn't be more proud. A great group of Americans, and even some that are not Americans, but support the United States. And above all things, they support our great God and Savior Jesus Christ. In fact, I got several atheists that just enjoy the channel, and you just never know when the Lord could touch their heart. It takes 1 second, one moment of one verse, and boom, the Lord might start to pierce the veil that's over their heart. That the Lord may start to puncture what the devil has built up for decades of hate and anger, and you never know. All right, let's continue.
there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now. And the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you,
President
Mr.
Trump.
President. Mr. President, I'm very curious. You've
I didn't
spoken
call
about.
you in the red.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas
I didn't
and
call
Alito,
you.
as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they
Ted
go
Cruz.
through to ensure the uphold?
I don't know, but they're great
Constitution.
justices. That's all I can say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people.
The one's
They're great.
retiring
Justice Alito, too.
at 75
Add to
years
the group.
old.
These are great men.
Right.
They're with a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Congress to take additional action on tariffs now? Have you
No, I
spoken
don't
to
need to.
leaders?
It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers, and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and I went to great place, great plant, great, wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We were in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man.
That's right.
But a very powerful, strong
No man
He's
wants a
been in
man
the
to
steel
kiss him.
business for
Puke.
many years. His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week, and then you came in and imposed tariffs, and all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you. But you know what? He just to finalize it, he said, oh, this is a great place in Georgia. He said, all up and down the highway, same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to go bankrupt. We're all going out of business. And now every one of us are thriving, and we're hiring people like we haven't. He said, like I've never, and he's been in business for, I think, 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs. And we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start that are under construction right now. You see all the construction numbers are so good. Those construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from
One thing that I find, I don't know if I find it disturbing or if it's just part of Bible prophecy beginning to happen. I mean, or continuing to happen, let's put it that way. $5 trillion President Trump put into AI. 5 trillion. Not billion, not gazillion, not a googleplex, which is a number by the way, but 5 trillion. If he would have somebody and it wouldn't make a difference because Bible prophecy still has to come to fruition, you can't stop it. You just try to stay out of its way the best you can. Make sure you're right with God before you get left behind. But if he were to read Revelation 13, verse 15, not 16 through 18, but specifically 13, 15, he would see that AI will be the image of the beast, or known as the image of the Antichrist. But it wouldn't make a difference, even if he did look at it and the Lord impressed upon him, oh my gosh, that sounds like AI. He would still go through with it because it's biblical prophecy and you cannot stop it.
Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years, they've taken our market. They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our
Nah, no,
taken
you
our
don't do this
cars.
again. No. Internet, be good girl.
They
All
manufacture
right,
them in
maybe I can
Japan,
skip over
Germany,
this
and all.
spot. I'll try to skip over this spot right here. See where it goes blank? Like, what in the world happened? That's all we're going to get out of that. Let me go to a different YouTube area. Yeah, see?
If you can't follow the rules of the road, you shouldn't be handed the keys to a car, let alone keys to an 80,000-pound tractor
That's
trailer.
right. Laura
And if you're here
Ingram. I almost
illegally,
said Laura
you shouldn't be
Ingalls.
driving at all. Yet the
Let's watch
bodies
this,
are
guys.
piling up.
Let's watch this.
As every week, we seem to hear about another crash involving an illegal alien behind the wheel. Yesterday in Indiana, 64-year-old Terry Schultz was killed after a semi-truck reportedly ran a red light, then plowed into his car. The driver of that truck, Singh Sukhdeep, came here illegally from India. He was caught and released at the border in 2018, when Democrats, by the way, were suing to stop Donald Trump's border wall.
Did she say sink too deep? The name is Sink Too Deep. Can you have a sink that's too deep when you're doing dishes? Why would you name your kid that, Jenna? Why would you name your kid Sink Too Deep? Yeah, that's what I said. What? Sink Too Deep. Huh.
A witness to the
Okay.
accident said she stayed with Terry
Yeah,
until his
right.
final moments.
Well, okay, maybe not quite
I
sink
made it
too.
my job to be calming to him and maybe try to keep him calm. He was unresponsive, but at some point, I think that he definitely took his last breath.
So upsetting. But more than that, it is infuriating. And now a new bombshell report finds that 20% of all commercial driver's licenses issued to non-citizens in Illinois were issued illegally. Well, another item on Pritzker's presidential resume. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has stepped in, telling the state to clean up its act or lose millions in federal funding. Look, this is not about politics, it's about competence. State officials have to enforce the standards that already exist, keep Americans safe. Here with reaction is Marcus Coleman. He's a former truck driver himself, but more importantly, the father of 7-year-old Delilah. She was 5 years old when an illegal alien driving an 18-wheeler caused a multi-car crash, injuring his daughter. Now, Marcus, thanks.
That's awful. That's
thanks
just
for
terrible.
you to tell your story tonight. I see you brought Delilah with you.
You know, and it makes you wonder, Crystal, that if do these insurance companies have a clause inside the contracts when you get insurance through them? Does it say somewhere in the fine print, will not cover accidents caused and injuries caused from said accident by illegal immigrants who can't even speak the King's English, let alone should be driving a semi truck. They probably don't.
She's beautiful. Tell us what happened.
She is
and I
cute.
understand she was airlifted to the hospital during that crash.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you for having us as well. Yeah, she was airlifted on June 20th, 2024, when she got involved in a vehicle accident from a illegal immigrant truck driver that was licensed here in California. California passed a law where you could be 18 years old and get a CDL, which right now we're trying to repeal that as well. And there's also some other laws that we're trying to put in place that are going to protect American drivers on the road.
Wait a minute. I got to
so
ask
we don't
you
have
guys
to go through
something
the
in the
same stuff
chat.
that we're going through.
Okay.
Marcus.
I want to ask everybody a question because I'm totally baffled because I asked my buddy here, Alexa, is the State of the Union tonight or is it next Tuesday? Because she's telling me it's the 24th of February. So if you happen to ask your Alexa today, when is the State of the Union? She's going to tell you this coming Tuesday, but apparently it's tonight. Huh. And let me see if right here, Fox News has already got, yeah, it's already ahead of time now. It's already saying ahead of time that the State of the Union is tonight. But I bet you anything was last year. Computer, was the State of the Union last year on the 24th of February?
No, the State of the Union last year wasn't on February 24th. In 2025, President Trump gave an address to Congress in March, but it wasn't a formal State
That's
of
what I
Union.
thought. Computer, so why are you telling me earlier that the State of the Union address is not tonight, but it's the 24th when it's actually tonight?
You're absolutely right. And I
Ugh. You
apologize.
see, guys, listen.
The State of the
Computer
Union
dismissed.
address is indeed tonight.
Computer dismissed. I asked her 4 times earlier because I thought she might be wrong. And she was. I just knew she was. I had a feeling she was. So unless you know specifically, like with your Alexas, she very much is a helping me find Bible verses and such. But most everything else, your Alexa is going to be wrong probably 40% of the time because I've caught her being wrong in other things. Just it's annoying. So I will actually be live tonight. What time is the State of the Union tonight? Computer, what time is the State of the Union tonight?
The State of the Union address starts at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, okay. So the kids will be here and gone by then. Um, so I will go live tonight. Computer, you're dismissed. I'll be going live tonight for the State of the Union too. In fact, I'm going to set that up pretty soon. Um, yeah. So I don't know what happened with the signal and everything with President Trump. I don't know if you guys were able to hear the end of it somewhere. Let me see here. What is this? Okay, let's try doing this one. I would like to hear the rest of it. Um, let's see if we can do this. I was going to go live later, around later this afternoon, but I'll wait to go live again till tonight because I got my kids coming over today, and my daughter's boyfriend will be coming over this evening for my daughter's birthday. In fact, I think they're going to be here probably around 4 or 5, so I'll have plenty of time. Um, but let's try this again. All right, so let's do this. As far as I know, President Trump is still speaking right now. I mean, hopefully,
Wow,
we're going to fast
that's a lot
forward
of people. That's a new record. We set a record every time. Well, thank you very much
That's
for
because
being
Trump's
here.
all about setting records. He's good at
The
setting records.
Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply
Stupid.
disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having
They don't have the intestinal
the
fortitude.
environmentalists
That's
have
the
taken
problem.
over. They've got windmills destroying their fields and their
There,
beautiful
that's better.
meadows.
What you felt when you?
I was a great, big, beautiful bill, frankly.
Okay, so now we can actually watch this all the way
and
through.
I think it's going to be. I'd love to kiss you. This is a very.
We're going to
powerful
go
man.
to
I
where
wanna be kissed.
I'm going to forward it to where he started having questions asked of him. That way we ain't got to go through all that again.
Are so good. Those
Although it
construction
was
workers
really
are
good.
building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants.
Okay, awesome,
coming in
Jeff. I'm
from
glad you'll be
Canada,
here.
who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years,
Yep.
they've taken our market. They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place. Taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan.
There, I jumped over the bad part.
Their dissent is so strong. When you read their
If the Supreme Court
please
ruled-
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. What will you say to foreign nations who seek to renegotiate their deals? And what did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Well,
Yes,
think that
I
foreign,
bet that's true.
interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence. They have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships. I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls.
I love how he says, I don't like him.
Got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the country.
That's right.
That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, you know, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said,
Yeah.
you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago. They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made
It's
all the
because
cars.
the presidents we used
And
to
then
have
Mexico
don't have.
came,
I'll
Canada
just say
came,
it.
and
They don't got the
Japan
balls.
and Germany. But
They
they're
didn't
all
have the
coming
balls
back
to
now.
stick up for
They're all
America.
coming back at record levels. No, please.
Do you regret appointing
I'm not
to the Supreme
talking to you.
Court?
I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead.
Mr. President, yesterday you announced that the economy is the hottest it's been in a long time. January jobs report beat
That was funny.
expectations. CPI report beat
Sorry, John, I didn't mean to
expectations.
scare you.
Real wages are up. What would you tell Americans who are worried that this decision will kind of throw the economy that you have projected going in the right direction at a very rapid pace off track?
Well, thank you for the question. And I will say this. We really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. But they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months. And that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world. If you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world had massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army.
Thank you.
We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, you know, at some point you're going to say, like, and they have reduced it. You know, fentanyl's down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is our strong border. We have a strong border now. But thank you. Thank you for your question.
Mr. President, sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way, and we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time, but the end result is going to get us more money, and I think it's going to be great. Yeah, please. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. So since Liberation Day, there's about
You find a little
$175
plastic
billion
thing on the floor, Jenna,
in
you let me
tariff
know.
revenue
It's a
that
little
is
USB
now
drive.
in limbo. Do you have to
Like that's
refund
plugged into the computer right now.
$175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective. It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. They said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
What you're saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right?
See, they don't pay
It's
attention.
not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next
They
5 years.
just don't pay attention to the press, most of them.
Go ahead, Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you are talking about the relationship with countries that you have sought trade deals with, do you anticipate that they will seek to renegotiate those? What do you say to them? And do you view this as a potential undermining power for your
We're going
negotiations?
straight ahead with 10% straight across the board, which was the absolute right to do. And that's taking place. That's a lot of money coming into our country. And then during that period of about 5 months, we are doing the various investigations necessary to put fair tariffs or tariffs, period, on other countries. So we're doing that period, but we're immediately instituting the 10% provision, which we're allowed to do. And in the end, I think we'll take in more money than we've taken in before.
Mr. President, you've used the tariff revenue to pay for a host of federal policies. You claim that they will pay for them. What happens
Well,
to
like
those
the
things?
farmers. We took care of farmers. You know, the farmers were mistreated by foreign countries very badly, very
Yes,
badly.
they were.
And last week I gave them $12 billion out of
12
tariff money.
billion.
We intend to, out of tariff money, because just so you understand, we have tariffs.
Well, no,
We just have
yeah.
them in a different way.
And we can
And now
see-
they've been confirmed
I'll pass it back to you.
by the Supreme Court of
Good
the United
teamwork.
States.
Good teamwork,
So
Jenna.
there's no longer that question out there
There
about
you go.
tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well.
There we go.
We just left the top person in a place called Vietnam, just left my office. Great gentleman, strong and smart. He said, you know, I think this means you're allowed to charge us more tariffs than before.
There you go. Thank you.
And Canada said to Jameson, I might want to say it, Jameson, but Canada said, I hope you win this decision, because if you don't win, you'll actually be allowed to charge us with a little additional work, higher tariffs. Jameson, you want to comment on that?
Yes, sir. So, to the president's point, we have a lot of tools out there. We have Section 122, which will be implemented today. It will be signed today and implemented very shortly. We have Section 301 investigations, which are incredibly legally durable, where we can investigate and address unfair trading practices that have led to our huge trade deficit. And so you can look forward in the coming days and weeks to seeing all of that come out, and we're going to keep continuity in the program. We're going to keep addressing this so that the deficit can keep going down. That's the trend it has, and we can make America great again.
No.
Several of Republicans in Congress have supported this decision by the Supreme Court, and Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, has called you a wannabe king. Why wouldn't
him a low IQ?
But why wouldn't
he doesn't even know? And I watched him the other day interview. The guy doesn't even know what a tariff is.
But there's been bipartisan criticism.
Get him, Trump. Get him, Trump.
There's several Republicans have said that.
Right, kitty cat.
Why wouldn't you just work with Congress to come up with a plan?
I don't have to.
To push tariffs.
I have the
through?
right to do tariffs, and I've always had the right to do tariffs, and it's
That's
all
right.
been approved by Congress. So there's no reason to do it.
That's right.
All we're doing is we're going through a little bit more complicated process. Not complicated very much, but a little more complicated than what we had. We'll be able to take in tariffs, more tariffs. And the Congress people and the Congress,
the Canadian tariffs last week. There's been votes in the Senate against it.
Yeah, because we lost 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans because they're not good Republicans. What you don't say, you don't say that we got 215 votes.
You need 218 for something to pass.
Yeah, sure we do. We might have lost 3 votes, and we got. And what was the score on the Republican side? 215 to 3, right? But you don't say that. We have great unity. There's great unity in the Republican Party, and I hope everyone's going to vote Republican, because otherwise you won't have a country left. Because these people have been destroying. They are destroying our country. Please.
Mr. President, the 122 tariffs, that 10%, is that going to be for 150 days, or do you want to charge that indefinitely?
We have a right to do pretty much what we want to do, but we're going to charge it starting effectively. I think it's 3 days from now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you speak to a lot of factory workers, a lot of manufacturing workers. What does the Supreme Court ruling say? What's that message to those factory workers?
Well, I think the factory workers are happy because we're now telling them that they're going to look. The man I met with yesterday, who owned a factory, was out of business. He was out of business, and now he's employing 5 times. In fact, I walked in. He's got a brand new crane. I said, "How old is that crane?" We got it in December. He's allowed to write it off in 1 minute. The Great Big Beautiful Act gave no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. He said this great big beautiful bill, frankly, has been the best thing that's ever happened for the workers much more so than for rich people. The only thing it does for rich people, it allows them to hire a lot more people. But when I saw him, and then he said, it's all up and down the line. This is a place in Georgia, all up and down. Other factories doing different, not only steel products, different.
Hey, Jeff, I just got your message. You sent it 37 minutes ago, it says, but you said, I heard you, brother, in the live stream. This is exactly what it feels like today. And he's got a cat with its neck up on on a keyboard, or its chin, and it says, "That's enough today for today. Enough todaying for today. I'm done." That's brilliant. I love it. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
He said every one of us was out of business.
Hey, weather expert,
We
welcome
could
back
barely
in. Good to
make
see you again, weather.
Some of them were down to less than an hour a week. Think of it, 1 hour a week to make just a few little trinkets or whatever they make. Now they're going round the clock. I had it a month ago. I went to Michigan, went to Ford, and I met with Bill Ford, the head of Ford, and we were in one of the biggest plants, an original plant from the early 1900s, where, by the way, I might add this, it's not really relevant, but it's all relevant. Murders are down. Crime is way down in the country. The factories that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, they make. Now they're going round the clock. I had it a month ago. I went to Michigan, went to Ford, and I met with Bill Ford, the head of Ford, and we were in one of the biggest plants, an original plant from the early 1900s, where, by the way, I might add this, it's not really relevant, but it's all relevant. Murders are down. Crime is way down in the country. The factories that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, they are so thrilled with Trump. So whether we charge IEEPA tariffs or whether we charge tariffs under a different section, that's what we're going to be doing. There's no way we can ever. This is what happened to our country. This is why we owe $38 trillion, which we'll get rid of in pretty good course. We have a very incompetent Fed chairman who likes high interest rates. For political reasons, he likes them. But we're going to have somebody very good. Interest rates should come down very substantially. I think we should pay the lowest interest rates on the planet. There should be no country, and we don't do that. We're number 38. This is just bad policy for a long period of time. But what's happened is we've made America strong again. We've made America great again. We should pay. As an example, the country of Switzerland, we were getting almost no tariffs from them. We had a $40 billion deficit. And the prime minister called me up. She said, but we are a small country, because I said we're going to raise it to 39% from nothing.
Java.
That would have rendered them not very successful.
What? I gotta stop for just a second. What Java? And by the way, Java, welcome to Mike Shriver Ministries. Java said, finally, a chat where people aren't having a hard time with coping. Nope, we're not. We know that God has ordained all things, and that God will give Trump the wisdom he needs to guide and direct our nation. Um, Even though the Supreme Court decided to be stupid, there's always going to be dissenters. I don't believe in death to the naysayers. I believe in repentance for the naysayers. They got to get themselves right with God before they get left. Our human governments are interesting, and I think we need to pay attention to what's going on. But what really matters is that if we're born again, we're in this world, and the governmental systems does affect us here on earth. But it's Jesus Christ and his kingdom that truly matters. But don't be a fool and ignore what's going on around you, because not only will it affect you while you're here, but it also affects future generations of Americans. And we want to make sure that the future, although Jesus knows the plan and he's not stupid, he wasn't born tomorrow. He showed up here 2,000 years ago, and it wouldn't make a difference if he didn't. He's omnipresent, fills the universe, which also includes, by the way, all three time frames. If Jesus Christ is truly the yesterday to say today, the same forever. Let's see, how does that go? Yesterday, today, and forever. Then he exists in all three time frames: the past, the present, the future. All right, let's continue.
As opposed to right now, they're considered elite. But if we put a tariff, and I realized then, she said, but sir, we are a small country. I said, you're a small country with a big deficit for us.
Mm-hmm.
You're making a lot of money off the United States. If we do that, a lot of these elite countries, they're elite because we let them make so much money. And I want them to do well, but I don't want them to do well on the backs of the American taxpayer. So I appreciate your question.
Jeff.
I think it's reasonable.
President Trump, you said that you were disappointed with that, but were you surprised with this decision? What you felt when you?
I was surprised because I thought that what we did was, number one, according to, I mean, I read the paragraphs. I read very well. Great comprehension. I read everything there is to read, and I said, we can't lose this case. But we can when judges are political, when they want to be politically correct, when they're catering to a group of people in D.C. Maybe, I don't know what it is, because when you read it, there's no other interpretation. There is no other interpretation. But it's okay, because what has come out, and I'll say it for the third time and maybe the last time in a while, is that we've taken the uncertainty of tariffs out, because we had uncertainty. We got sued by sleazebags, I know them well, that are very outside country, China-centric, but outside country-centric. And they're going to end up not doing as well as they did before. America was becoming really, really, we're strong again. Hey, we have the strongest military. I rebuilt the military in the first term. We have the most powerful military. We make the best equipment. And even them, you know, we could do much better. We have people that get paid a lot of money to manufacture Patriot missiles and javelins and all the different things. But when you want them, they're too slow. And we put them on notice, and they're going to make, our country is building a lot of things right now, and our country is doing really well. And we're going to keep it that way. The bottom line is that the word certainty is now in the equation. Every single thing I said today is guaranteed certainty. It's been tested, as Jameson said 1,000 times. Literally, I said hundreds of times. He said, sir, actually thousands of times, and won in all of the courts. And we're just going back to that. And the problem is that we had other presidents that weren't into trade. Maybe they weren't business oriented. Maybe they weren't smart. We had some dummies too, you know. I respectfully say we had some real dummies. So we are going to keep it going just as before.
I love Trump. I
probably
do.
more so. But you're no longer going to be asked. Every time I got up, you'd ask, well, what happens if
Welcome
you
in,
can't
Chris.
charge
Good to see you.
seven?
Glad you're here.
Now we can. And by the way, in their decision, they specifically said we can do these. We have alternatives. Yeah.
David, on the trade deals that were negotiated using IEEPA tariffs,
Yeah.
do those stand now, or are they have to be
Well,
redone?
some of them stand. Many of them stand. Some of them won't, and they'll be replaced with the other tariffs.
Trump wins.
Supreme Court justices who ruled against
I love
this
it.
the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union
Yeah.
next week? And will you speak with them?
They are
Oh,
invited,
sure.
barely.
Sure, barely.
Three are happily invited. No, they're barely invited.
A third of them
Honestly,
are
I
all
couldn't
right.
care less if they come. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the trade deal, which is the framework which is to be signed with India sometime soon, will that stand now?
Yeah,
and on the
nothing
decision,
changes.
nothing changes.
No, nothing changes. They'll be paying tariffs, and we will not be paying tariffs.
That's
The deal
right.
With India, is they pay tariffs. This
That's
is a
right.
reversal from what it
That's
used to be,
right.
as you know. India, and I think Prime Minister Modi is a great gentleman, a great man, actually, but he was much smarter than the people that he was against in terms of the United States. He was ripping us off in India. So we made a deal with India, and it's a fair deal now, and we are not paying tariffs to them, and they are paying tariffs. We did a little flip.
Ow.
So up as of now for this.
Mr. President.
No, the India deal is on. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
All the deals are on. We're just going to do it a different way.
Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think there's another war that you stopped and you should take the credit, which is in Syria. Secretary Rubio, after his meeting in Munich with the Syrian Foreign Minister and the Kurdish General Muslim Abdi, he said that President Trump was directly involved in efforts to stop the fighting between the Kurds and the Syrians. How will your administration will make sure that this peace is sustained? And do you support the idea
Well,
of...
it's a very different topic, and so I don't want to spend a lot of time, but all I can say is that the president of Syria, who I essentially put there, is doing a phenomenal job. He's a rough guy. He's not a choir boy. A choir boy couldn't do it.
He's not a choir boy.
But Syria is coming together, really coming together well. And thus far, he's been very good to the Kurds. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. President, what's your message to the Iranian people after 2 rounds of talks with them? Do you have any message to the Iranian people?
The Iranian people in Iran or people here?
People in Iran.
They better negotiate a fair deal. You know, the people of Iran are a lot different than the leaders of Iran. And it's very, very sad situation. But 32,000 people were killed over a relatively short period of time. They were going to hang 800,
Terrible.
2 weeks ago.
Terrible what they're doing to those people
Some
over
by
there.
crane. They
By
lift them up
crane?
with a tall crane.
They'd
and
snap
play
their
them
head
down the
off.
square. They were going to hang 837
Who
people.
does that?
And I gave them the word, if you hang one person, even one person, that you're going to be hit right then and there. I wasn't waiting 2 weeks and negotiating. And they gave up the hanging. They didn't hang 837. Supposedly, they didn't hang anybody.
Crying
But
shame.
no, I feel very badly for the people of Iran. They've lived in hell. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned multiple times foreign influence over the Supreme Court. Do you have
Yeah.
evidence of that? And if not,
Oh,
will you
shut up, you
investigate?
leftist hack. My God in heaven, help us all.
What alternatives are you going to put into place in your relationship with Europe, and also those tariffs that has been called illegal? How they're going to go impact the relationship with Russia? That you sanction
Well,
some
I want
countries.
Europe to strengthen up. Europe has gone
Yeah.
woke. Europe is not recognized.
You go woke, you
into
go
so many
broke.
places. Not all countries. You look at Hungary. You look at.
I'm hungry. I
Poland,
eat all the time. By God, my
Czech,
stomach looks like it too.
Slovakia. There are some countries that have gone very much the opposite. Some really, and some others. But Europe has to be strong, and they become soft and not recognizable. You go into some of the countries, I don't want to be specific, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. And they're not recognizable. They become, the environmentalists have taken over. They've got windmills destroying their fields and their beautiful meadows and
Great Britain
their oceans and
been taken over
they're paying
by
a fortune.
all of the
No.
Middle
Europe has to get
Easterners
smart.
that were
Europe's
in
getting killed on two
France, and
things,
now they
energy
shipped them over to
and
Great Britain.
immigration. And if they
And
don't
there
solve
we were going
both
to have
of them
to.
fast,
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. It's of my personal opinion that there's going to come a day. I don't know if happen around the time of World War III or before, because we know the Bible says a third of the grass of the planet will be burned up. But I have to believe that the United States is going to have to bail out Great Britain again for a third time. Because now you have the French who gave up, who kicked out, expelled a good majority of their, from my understanding anyway, of their people that were from the Middle East, a lot of Islam. They went over to Great Britain, and now they basically run Great Britain. And that's exactly what they were trying to do here in the United States until President Trump said, I don't think so. Ain't going to happen. Not under my watch. And when President Trump says something's not going to happen under his watch, he usually has no problem getting that to happen. It's kind of funny. You hear all these other presidents throughout this, the decades, and they'll talk a big game and tough. But it seems like, at least in the majority of cases, President Trump is the only one that goes through with what he said he's going to do. You mess with the United States, fine, we'll bomb you. And he does it. Thank God for President Donald J. Trump. Let's continue.
Europe is not the same place. Yeah, please.
Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, are you surprised in particular by their decision today? And do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible.
Yeah.
I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth.
Smack.
Yeah.
Good job, President. Amen.
Specifically on that $2,000 tariff check.
Mr. President,
I didn't call you.
You didn't call me?
Yeah, Mr. President, to be clear, do you believe at the end of implementing these new tariff tools, the tariff rate and tariffs will ultimately be higher than they currently are?
Potentially higher.
Yeah.
It depends, whatever we want them to be. But we want them to be fair for other countries. And, we have some countries that have treated us really badly for years. And it's going to be high for them. And we have other countries that have been very good, and it's going to be very reasonable for them. Yeah.
Specifically on the tariffs question, on the $2,000.
Is that Caitlin Collins that he's telling to shut up?
Travel to India for the Quad Summit, and how do you think your relationship with India is right now?
I think my relationship with India is fantastic, and we're doing trade with India. India pulled out of Russia. India was getting its oil from Russia, right? And they pull way back at my request because we want to settle that horrible war where 25,000 people are dying every month. And my relationship with Prime Minister Modi
that's about all I know in that
I
language.
would say great. I also stopped a war between India and Pakistan, as you know. There were 10 planes we shot down. That war was going and probably going nuclear. And just yesterday, the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 35 million lives by getting them to stop.
Yeah.
That's and I did it largely with tariffs. I said, look, you're going to fight, that's fine, but you're not going to do business with the United States, and you're going to pay a 200% tariff, each country. And they called up and they said, we have made peace. Okay? I just want to thank you all.
Great.
Look, great certainty has been brought back to the economy of the United States and actually the economy of the world, because we generate so much in the world. We're the biggest in the world, and we're now the strongest by far. We were a country that was dead 1.5 years ago. Now we have the hottest country in the world. We're going to keep it that way. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, this is surprising but not surprising. It's the Supreme Court, of course, has to do what they hold on here, I'm sorry.
Power Hour with Gabriella Power.
They have to do what they feel is
Hello and welcome
right.
to Power Hour. I'm Gabriella Power. Thank you for joining us. Well, is everything okay with Stephen Colbert? He's been having a hissy fit on
Stephen Colbert, he's the equivalent of a terrible joke. Yeah, it is awful. I'm surprised that it didn't go the flip. I thought it would go 6-3. Instead, it went 3 in favor, 6 out of favor. But, it happens. You're not always going to win everything. But see, here's the thing with President Trump. He's trying to think 9 moves ahead. He's the kind of guy that's like, at least from what I can tell, he's like, okay, I don't get how I want this to go, and most likely maybe I won't because the left hates me. I'm going to have to think of what we can do to get relatively close to how I really want things to be. Now, from my understanding, he can put legislation out there, am I correct, to get that to where it kind of reverses the Supreme Court, or I'm not sure exactly how that works. I thought he said something that to that effect if there was legislation created for it and it passed. But he's always going to think several moves ahead of the left. He has to. Even if he was the kind of man that didn't think that way before he entered into politics, he has to. They simply hate President Trump because of who he is. If you go and you watch videos from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and even mid 2000s, like 2010, you're going to see that President Trump was loved by the left, loved by Democrats everywhere. I know he identified, if you can say it like that, as a Democrat at one time. But even Whoopi Goldberg had no problem with him. The ladies on The View practically bowed to him and kissed his feet back then. But now they don't. And I got a feeling a lot of them, as crazy as it might sound, a lot of those people do like him deep down inside. But if they even hint toward that they like Trump even a little bit, even some of his policies, they will absolutely, totally put him down. Yeah, well, you're not going to call me a dummy on my own channel, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. But thank you. And so they absolutely will, they basically worshipped him back then. And now they don't. They want nothing to do with him. And it's absolutely ridiculous that people can't keep their own mindset, that they have to allow other people to think for them and tell them what they're going to do, how they're going to run their shows, how they're going to look at the politics that they want to look at. And, it's just ridiculous. But thank God that the Lord is good and gracious. And can you imagine, just imagine if President Trump, what if they didn't cheat and Biden got into office and Trump got another 4 years? I've heard many people say this. We would be so far blinded at the actual truth of the left, our nation probably would never recover, even if they would have won the last election after 8 years of Trump. Because the fact that they cheated and God used that to the advantage of the United States, now we can see exactly how the left is for certain. It's interesting. I rather enjoy politics, to be honest with you. I don't understand how people can say, well, there's 2 things I won't discuss: politics and religion. Are you kidding me? There is so much to both of those topics. They're absolutely awesome, both of them. Don says the Supreme Court ruled only against the IEEPA tariffs. He is still. So, yeah, so tariffs are still something that Trump can push and do at just a moment's notice, right? I guess I'd have to. I heard him say the IEPA, and I figured it was IEEPA or whatever. Um, but I'm glad that he still has some power and some authority when it comes to tariffs. Because they're going to do whatever they can to try to stop him. It almost makes me wish that President Trump would change his actual name. Because then maybe if they were to change his name, is the echo still there? This might be why. All right, it's going to take about 30 seconds. In about 30 seconds, let me know if you still hear. Let me know if you still hear it. Yeah, I thought I had that fixed there for a minute ago when that other, not that other person, but the one person was being stupid and calling me an idiot. You can't tell if your mic has a echo to it, at least not with this headset. But I had the other microphone turned on so you guys could hear what was being said on the video. Whoops, tilted myself there. So, I'm like you say, I'm glad Trump still has tariff power, that they didn't completely rule him out from being able to do tariffs at all. Yeah, so if I do get sound echo or anything like that, let me know right away. Don't hold back. You're not going to insult me. In fact, you're helping me. So, yeah, but I'm not going to be able to get rid of all the echoes. Sometimes it's just bad signal. Let's see, the Droid Cam OBS headset's off. Everything's off except for the Xbox headset. So, yeah. Hey, Gray 59s. Good to see you again, man. It's been a minute. I'm glad you're back. Awesome, Jeff. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I think President Trump's like 10 steps ahead. I gotta wonder, like, I don't know. He's a brilliant president, and it's a shame that, at least in a lot of ways, it's a shame that you can only be president twice. Now, the last president who actually got elected 3 times was Roosevelt during the Second World War era, and then that's when they put a cap on it. In fact, he wasn't even he wasn't even um, reelected very long before he passed away, which was a crying shame. Yeah. Let's see here. Let me see if I'm at that point where I can give away 10. Eh, I was so grateful. What's his name came in here the other night? WWXYZ 9805, I think. He hadn't been in here in like 2 months, and he bought 10 memberships to give away to 10 different people. I was so grateful for that. That's the first time I've seen that. I'm grateful for any kind of donations, but that was the first time that's ever happened. So it's kind of like a monument. So, um, yeah. If there's an echo, it's not my fault. I've done everything I can to try to stop it. So anyway, let me see if I can give out my free 10 if it's that point yet of the month. I don't think it is. You've sent all 10 free of charge gift memberships this month. Yeah, so it's still probably going to be another week before I could do those 10 free ones again. And it's actually like you could buy one membership for somebody, but you don't know who it's going to go to because the algorithm chooses it. Those are $4.99 a month. But if you just paid the $2.99, you'd be a member for the entire month. It's actually cheaper to go membership versus buying a membership for somebody and it randomly going to somebody. But either way is good. I appreciate it. And we're going to be live again tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in exactly 6 hours and 1 minute from now, we're going to listen to the president's address tonight. How many? Oh man, I don't bet. I don't like do bets. I used to a little bit between friends over $5 over a Pistons game or a Lions game back in the day, a long time ago. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah. I wonder if Al Green, was it Al Green last year, guys, that shook his cane? I got a cane right here. Ow! Oh my Lord! Ow! Sorry to blow your ears out. Only 30 more years, guys. And it'll be over. Dear God, that hurt my leg. You don't feel it coming on. You don't. You don't know if it's going to happen. So you don't even have time to brace for it. It just hits. It started maybe 6 months ago above my knee, and I had the last hip replacement was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But this didn't start till like 6 months ago, right above my right knee. Now I had that hip replaced twice within 45 days, the whole hip. And I'm thinking, is it caused from that? What's doing this to me? The doctor tried to say it's tendonitis, but I don't think so. Man, that hurt. It's like somebody taking a dagger and just going pop, but it just doesn't puncture the skin. It's like it goes right down into your bone. So I'm sorry if I scared somebody half to death. I don't know when it's going to happen. And if I go to stand up, like if I start feeling the pain, like in the process of getting up, and I stop like this, I have to grab something, say a small little ouch, and then try to stand up straight. And if I stand for about a minute, the pain will just subside. It's like the muscle or whatever just calms down. But if I were to try to put any weight on it at all while it's hurting like that, I would collapse. But if I wait, 40 or 50 seconds, it slowly dissipates. The pain does. I don't know what's causing it. It's terrible. Again, the Lord has kept me from being paralyzed for life now, so I'm not going to complain so much about the little bit of pain. It was either that or a wheelchair. And so I wonder, is Al Green going to shake his cane? Bless God, President Trump. Blah, 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 blah. How did it work out for Mr. Green when he said, we're going to get you impeached? It hasn't. Now, if Trump were to lose, or if the Republicans lose in the midterms, they're going to go after him. They're going to go after all of our YouTube channels, and they're going to first go after President Trump. They will be angry little meanies, and they will go for Trump. They want his head on a spike, but we'll see. Thank God that we're going to get people out. Listen, let me encourage you that when it comes time for the midterms in November, rent a 2 or 3 ton truck. Go get all of your friends with their voter IDs. Make sure you don't pull out of their driveway until their voter ID you see. So go rent a 2-ton truck, load everybody you can into that 2-ton truck, and go vote in the midterms. If you have rhinos in your state, don't go straight ticket. Vote for everybody except the rhinos in your states. Because what do we got? We got West Virginia. What is it? Is it West Virginia? I know West Virginia is the first one, or Virginia. And there's like 2 other states. Somebody had let me know a couple weeks ago where the rhinos were. But if you're going to go vote at the midterms, don't do straight ticket in the states where the rhinos are, the ones that hate Trump, the Republicans that hate Trump. Because that means you're giving a rhino your vote. Go through and individually do your voting. Don't do straight ticket. Those rhinos will get right back in. We want them out. We want them, as President Trump would say, fired. Now, I was saying that a long time before I think I've ever heard Trump say that, but I was talking about relationships, because all relationships, a little wisdom for you, all relationships are based upon contract. Whether it be written or verbal, a contract is a contract is a contract. And it is based upon keeping certain terms and conditions within said contract, right? So if you agree that when you get married that you promise you will not commit adultery, or when you enter into a dating relationship, a man with a woman, woman with a man, because there's no other way, not by nature, then you just made a promise to the one that you care about, the one that you say you love, or at minimum, at least, are crazy about. You made a promise, a condition. You would touch nobody else. It's not an open relationship, nor would you ever agree to it. So when they break that contract, whether it's written or verbal, you could say you're fired because it's a contract. And if they can't keep their end of the bargain or the contract, they're fired. You get rid of them. Of course, you can allow mercy. I had to. You got to let mercy step in. But if it's adultery, you don't have to. But if I didn't, I wouldn't have my two children, the one that turned 18 today, and my 23-year-old would not be in my life right now. So I thank God. See, mercy has its place. Mercy and grace can save not only the human race, but it can keep families together to try at least one more time. Just because he or she went out there and started banging everything with two legs doesn't mean you have to fire them. If you have it in your heart to forgive your loved one that just messed you over, then I think mercy should be given a chance. After all, do we as humans deserve the mercy of God? Absolutely not. The only thing we deserve from God is a free trip to hell. But no, Jesus said, they're my creation. I made them. I can destroy them or I could save them. And he showed up here on earth 2,000 years ago, full of mercy, grace, love, compassion, empathy, respect, dignity, and caring to try to save that which was lost. Choose ye this day whom ye shall serve. We can't serve two masters, and I get it. If you do mess up, the Bible says you have an advocate, a defense attorney, a go between, and his name is Jesus. Not only is he the great God and Savior of humanity and the creator of all things, not only is he omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent, he's full of grace and mercy. But that will run out. There will come a time where the human race, the Bible says the Spirit of God will be sucked up off the earth during the time of the reign of the Antichrist. Whether that be at the beginning of the Great Tribulation or the middle or toward the end, I don't know. There's an argument for all three. In fact, we should do a study on that one day. We're going to talk about, in your opinion, and what the Word of God says, when does the rapture happen? Because the rapture isn't in the Bible. The word itself is Greek. It's a Greek word basically meaning a great catching away. I think it's Second Thessalonians or First, one of the two. But when does it happen? Because the scriptures, a lot of it hint toward the beginning or just at the start of the 7-year tribulation. Then inside Revelation, there are other scriptures that make it sound like it's in the middle. And then there's even some that make it sound like it's at the end, just before the Battle of Armageddon, or we're sucked up like lint into a vacuum cleaner. That's the analogy I use for the rapture. And some believe it'll be right at the end, just before we go to the Battle of Armageddon, to destroy the Antichrist and the false prophet and its armies. Israel will be backed up to the edge of the Mediterranean Sea with nowhere to go. You got to remember, it says all nations. And unless the United States is considered one with Israel, then that would absolutely mean the United States as well goes against Israel with the rest of the world as part of the military force of the Antichrist. Now, I don't know if we're here, if the rapture doesn't happen until right at just before the Battle of Armageddon, we'll see a lot of that. If we don't make the rapture, we're going to see way more than what we really want to, if indeed we're still alive when all that happens. I probably should look at the chat, shouldn't I? I haven't looked at the chat in like 15 minutes. Let's see here. I will be back on tonight. I'm still going to be here for a little bit longer, but I'll be back on tonight. We're going to watch together as the president gives his presidential address, his yearly address. I so hope to God Al Green is there. He looked so dumb last. He looked like an absolute idiot. He looked awful. Going up, well, bless Jesus. We're going to get you, President Trump. We're going to get you. I don't recognize your authority. Oh, what a retard. I was so glad that ended because I got tired of seeing him stand up there and act like an imbecile. And they're all acting like that toward Trump. It's terrible. You don't see the right treating Biden like that when he was in office. We actually grew up. We were actually acting like adults. Does anybody remember when Nancy Pelosi and she tore up the speech? That was in the first term, right? At the end, like in the last year of his first term. I think that's when it was. When was that? It was a while back anyway. She's just a bad joke too. All right, let's just see what the chat's got to say. Grays. Yeah, dude, my leg, man. I'm telling you, that hurt. I don't know what it is. And last week, referring to that pain I get in my knee when I go to stand up sometimes, it didn't do it for 4 days. Nothing. And then at the end of last week, so it was like Monday through Thursday last week, it didn't hurt. Not once. In fact, I started standing up, not even thinking about that it could happen. And then on Friday, it started up again. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's it could be a tumor in there. It could be anything. I mean, I'm not worried about no matter what situation's going on, as long as I can figure out how to fix it. But when I did talk to my doctor, he didn't even offer an x-ray or anything like that. He just said, well, it's probably just tendonitis. What do you want me to do? It's like, how would this be happening? But it's okay. I'll be all right. Let's see. Mimi says, Jesus Christ is coming back again soon. We are living, and I believe we are too, Mimi. I absolutely do. Yeah, you have to get rid of Donald Trump. Yeah, that's what the left wants us to do. Why? Let me just say this. Let me jump up in here. Let's see which way I want to go with this. Yeah, I guess I can go over here. And I'm gonna bring you guys up on screen in YouTube Studio instead of in OBS. Come on, computer, work with me here. This computer was working just fine last couple weeks, and then all of a sudden it started lagging bad. I probably have to, I don't know, I probably got a bunch of stuff built up and I need to get out of there. But this older computer right now, I'm using it as an old laptop that I'm actually using for, it's doubling as a desktop. And it actually runs better than my newer laptop. which is kind of weird, but it was. But now it's not doing so good. Let's see here. Nope, not that one. Time is it? I got to go here in a minute anyway. My daughter turns 18 today. She called me up this morning. She said, Dad, I'm not feeling good. Will you come get me? I'm thinking, is she really not feeling good? Or if maybe she really is sick. And then I got her home this morning at like 9. She went and slept for a couple hours. And the next thing you know, she comes out here. I thought she was going to get some water or something. She starts doing the dishes. I'm like, okay, if you must not have been feeling too bad because you're home now. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so Don Trump says idiot above. Yeah. Yeah. Um, no, Fortune, I'm not going to kick you out of here. I'm going to leave you in here to torment you. You're with a whole group of Trump supporters. Oh man. Gray says, for 40 Air Denise 7125. Are you the guy that I fought on the bus last night? That's funny. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna put a poll out there really quick. Whoops. Yeah, I do gotta figure out what's wrong with my knee though. I gotta figure out why I'm broken again. Pinocchio's been broken. His strings have been cut. I got a poll here. Yep, my Alexa was telling me all morning that 4 different times she told me that the uh, State of the Union address isn't till next week. And I could have sworn it was tonight. And so I'm glad I made sure. I don't have a particular message right now to preach on. I was going to go live at 2:30 and I thought, no, I got too much going on today with my daughter. So I'm just going to come back on tonight. Doctors Poe, welcome back in, buddy. How you doing, man? Well, let me ask you this. Nobody delete this person. They're mine. I'll deal with them. But thank you, moderators, for wanting to. I appreciate it. But let them be because I got to ask some questions. So, Fortier, or Fortier, however you pronounce your name, let me just say I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. But what would you say, is it Dennis or Denise? Am I talking to a man and or a woman? Because, on the left, apparently men can have babies. That would be one of my questions. Fortier, are you one of those leftists that believe that a man can pop out bambinos? That would be my first question. Can a man have a baby? See, I'm assuming since you hate Trump so much, and again, it's an assumption, right? What does an assumption make out of you and me, right? So I'm guessing you're a leftist that believes that men can have babies. Let me ask this. Okay, let me type it out. That'd be my first question. Also, let me ask you another question. Yeah, they mess with us, we might as well mess with them, right? I can't. They mess with us, so we mess with them. I can because I care. So, my second question. And I want you to be honest. I know a lot of folks from the left, that's all they know how to do is lie. That's all they know how to do. So I expect you to tell me the truth, not what I want to hear, because I believe the same thing. I'll tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. I expect the same back in return, right? Because fair is fair. Okay, so question number 2. And I know I'm giving attention to somebody that probably doesn't really want it, nor do they feel like they deserve it, because most people that support left politics do have a lot of mommy issues and even possibly a dad issue or two. Okay, so Fort, is that your name? Yeah. Okay, so, oh, that's okay. You can insult me. I was married for 15 years. Okay, so, um, nope, nope, nope. You're in here bothering me, so I'm going to bother you right back. Vengeance is mine, saith the Mike, and in this case, I shall repay. Okay. Do you support one of the following or all of the following? Okay. So, no, 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 no. You're going to come in here and bother us. We're going to bother you. It's only fair. And I'm just in one of those moods. No, it's not that time of the month because a man cannot have a period. My balls became ovaries. Correction. My balls did not become ovaries. They stayed as balls. You do understand that's how that works, right? So if a man can have a baby, that means his balls became ovaries, but everything else in his body stayed male, which just doesn't happen. Okay. So my second question to you would be, do you support one or all of these? And I'm going to put them in caps because it just looks better. 2, DEI. 3, wokeism. 4, are you pro-abortion? 5, are you pro-illegal immigration? So I want you to do me a favor, since you're here at my channel. Now you are going to play by my rules. Answer, please. Oh, we only take yes or no's for answers here. Do you support one or all of the following? LGBTQ plus A through Z alphabet community. 2, do you support DEI? 3, do you support wokeism? 4, do you support pro-abortion? And 5, are you a supporter of pro-illegal immigration? Okay, fine. Let's say it like this then. If you were an American, a legal citizen, that is, would you support one or both of the following or all of the following? LGBTQ plus, DEI, wokeism, pro-abortion, or pro-illegal immigration? I wouldn't want to say your name the proper way. Olivia, it's okay for you to answer that. I suppose somebody else could speak for you. Gray says, I'm bro-life and sick of all you bro-choice guys. That's funny. I totally agree with you, Dr. Spo. No one should tell you what to do with your own body. Okay, Don Trump, he bit. He's mature enough to handle this. Okay, so Don Trump says no to all. Okay, you are really making me laugh. You're a fool. Well, okay, well I'm done having fun with you since you don't know how to answer. You're out of here. Anybody else? And really, that was just for them. And that's just it. They won't tell you what they believe. In fact, they will try to do just the opposite. They want to ask us questions, but they don't want to have questions asked of them. Okay, guys, I got to get ready for a birthday party, but I will be back. As you all know, I'm always here. I am going to be back tonight at 9 p.m. EST for the State of the Union address. And let us pray that Al Green, where was he from? Computer, where's Al Green from? I think he's a senator. Was it Senator Al Green?
Al Green is from Forest City, Arkansas. You're thinking of the politician Al Green.
Yes.
Texas congressman, but he was actually born in New Orleans.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so I will see all you guys here tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Computer dismissed. Computer, shut up. I'll see you all tonight at 9 p.m. as we listen to the greatest president that absolutely loves this nation, President Donald J. Trump. Amen. All right, guys, I will see you all here at 9 p.m. Have a fantastic afternoon, and never forget that Jesus Christ is our great God and Savior. See you later.